is that as black men age, their desirability increases. Thus, their optionality of women is always expanding. And the exact opposite is true for black women. As we age, doesn't matter how much money we accumulate, our degrees or professional accolades, the reality is that our marriage and partnership market value is depreciating with every passing year.
R.I.P. Kevin Samuels. I laughed a little bit as I heard that because it is absolutely crazy to me to watch women with smug looks on their faces parrot ideas that they've heard on this sector of the internet as if they created them themselves. What's weird is that this is the exact woman that about a year ago said this.
When some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date a bus driver?
If he owns the bus. If he owns it. If he owns the bus.
See, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. Okay. Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society.
The average woman doesn't really want just a good man. She doesn't want a husband. What she's really wanting are these standards or ideas that she has of what a man is supposed to be. What they want is, if I'm going to pay this money, I want me a Michael Ealy. I want me a Boris Kodjoe. Well, look, boo, Boris Kodjoe's married. Last time I checked, Idris Elba's taken. These men are such a small percentage of the population. Do you guys understand that for a man to be over 6'2" is less than 3% of the population? And we're talking all men around the world, less than 3% of the population. So you're sitting around here like, oh, he's got to be 6 foot and he's got to look like this and he's got to make 6 figures or 7 figures. When you start at just height alone, do you hear the percentage that I just gave you on just height? Just height. And if you add in what he looks like looking like Idris and making money like this and that, honey, look, you looking for the come up for real because I don't know where he's at. I was matchmaking, I would be like, man, I would go find these incredible men. And they would be like, oh, I would never date him. I'm like, I just went and found a freaking pilot, ex-Falcons player. Are you serious? But he don't look, it's like he's gotta be perfect. Everybody else is getting married. Everybody else is having babies. But you steady like, oh, I'm not settling. I'm not gonna settle. I know what I deserve.
But y'all blast Kevin Samuels when he was screaming it on his platform from the mountaintops. Y'all coming over to my platform and tell me that I hate women because I would say what you're saying, but in my own way. But let's see what else that she has to say.
No matter how good we look, no matter how fit we are, men are still seeing primarily our presumed dwindling fertility as a knock against us. And speaking of fertility, that is another reason that I want younger black women to seek marriage and partnership in college or right after, if that's what they choose. Because the number of college-educated black men is so low when compared to black college-educated women that we're all going to be targeting the same small pool of men. And as we heard today, on most campuses, there's like 7 black women students for every 1 black man student. Y'all do the math. So here's my advice. If you are a young black woman in college and you know in your heart and in your head that you want to prioritize family, I suggest that you simultaneously pursue that MRS degree right along with that BA or JD. Because the handful of black college-age men that actually do desire to get married soon, and they do share that value system, and family is a priority for them too, y'all, that is an incredibly small pool, and it's shrinking as you get older. And by the time you reach my age, 40, you will be faced with different choices relating to life partnership and motherhood. Now, I'm not saying that delaying marriage or motherhood is a bad option, but it's one that comes with its own consequences. And Our women deserve to know on the front end of their decision making instead of on the back half.
True. They do need to know now sooner than later, especially when there's so much media that hits their eyes that tell them to do the exact opposite. So I applaud you for saying those different things. However, it still looks like that you hold on to this bus driver comment of before. Why can she not be a college-educated woman that goes after a non-college educated man? Just because he's not college educated doesn't mean that he's not a leader. Just because he's not college educated doesn't mean that he doesn't have financial foundation. Just because he's college educated doesn't mean that he doesn't make more money than you. To advocate for college-age women to find college-age men or get their MRS degree, shout out again to Kevin Samuels, while at the same time ignoring non-college educated men or bus drivers is not doing them justice either. Because you see, if every college-educated woman was to get with every college-educated man, there would still be women that weren't married. Kevin always found a way to highlight the true mindset of the modern women in America. They often claim that they had all of these beautiful, intangible qualities that make them worthy for a man, but when you got down to the nuts and bolts of what they wanted out of their man, you can always quantify it in a couple of things. Six-figure earner, and essentially, most if not all of them wanted anywhere in between a luxurious lifestyle to not have to work to pay significant bills after having a child. Meanwhile, they're a weekly shopper at the dollar store. That type of mindset is why you bucked up when asked about dating a bus driver.
Why should there be value in marriage for women over 35? Because what is a woman's position in a marriage? What does a woman bring to a marriage? Traditionally, she brought her virginity, her chastity, her youth, her womb. But when you look at women who ask these questions, why do women need to get married? What's the value of marriage? Is there any honor in marriage? Is there whatever? They are inevitably over age 35. And there is an argument to be made that says there's no real value for an older woman to be married. But that's the thing. An older woman, and when I say older, for sake of this conversation, 35 plus. Do we agree on that? That women over 35 tend to have the education, income, means, all the things that a husband in days gone by would have been able to provide her from a resource standpoint. She has to have it. I mean, else how could she exist in life? The question isn't really if there's a value in getting married. The question is, why'd you wait so long? If you can see that there's value in getting married when you're younger, but you can say the same woman later on in life, after she's acquired all this stuff, well, if you can see all that, then marriage is not the question. It's why are women waiting so long? Why is it that when Becky goes to University of Georgia, University of Texas, she has her freshman and sophomore year to have fun, get out in the open dating environment. By the time she gets her BS or BA, she's leaving with a husband, at least a fiance. Getting married by the age of 21, 23, where in the black community, you tell somebody you need to be married by 23, they're talking about how too young. But then we're going to have to ask this question. At 36, 37, 38 years old, why do you need a Henry? Why do you need a high earner not rich yet? If you are 38 years old, you're past healthy childbearing years. Why do you need a man making multiple six figures when you're not going to be providing him children?
But regardless, I'm happy that this information on the internet is beginning to shift and change to get in front of the eyes of women that could genuinely benefit from hearing the clear and unadulterated truth. Kevin knew undoubtedly that there's going to be a subset of women that would never want to listen to his message. And I've always maintained on my platform that there will be no progress until women begin to speak up. Women of power, women of influence, women who have typically been prescribed to the mainstream media narrative engine. Because if not, we're going to have to deal with a lot of single-ass aunties going into the future.